On January 18th, I joined over 200 other people in a virtual challenge to walk 620 miles in 3 months. This challenge is a little different from most that you see and hear about because this particular challenge is to commemorate the path that the Choctaw tribe took from their land in Mississippi to a foreign land referred to as Indian Territory in 1831. This path is now referred to as the Trail of Tears, and that foreign land is now called Oklahoma. Why this challenge? Well, it's because I am about an eighth Choctaw, and that may not sound like a lot, but it is something that I carry with pride, and I have tried to immerse myself in the culture as much as possible. So today I would like to share with you a brief history of the Trail of Tears from the perspective of the Choctaw tribe, and share with you some of the things that I have learned through this virtual challenge. And finally, just share a few other things about the Choctaw tribe, along with my experiences as a member. Our 7th president, Andrew Jackson, campaigned to relocate several indigenous tribes in the Southeast to take advantage of the desired land. Other tribes that were affected included the Creek, the Cherokee, Chickasaw, and Seminoles, but the Choctaws were the first that were removed in 1831. It is referred to as the Trail of Tears as many of those relocated never made it to the final destination. When one of the Choctaw chiefs was interviewed by the Arkansas Gazette, he said it had been a trail of tears and death up to that point. Thus the name Trail of Tears stuck. It is estimated that 1/3 of the Native American population passed away from starvation, disease, and extreme weather on this trail. For example, a typical daily ration of food was a handful of boiled corn, a turnip, and 2 cups of heated water per day. Heated because the removal started during the winter on November 1st. The journey for the Choctaws began in Nanewiah, Mississippi. This is also where my virtual challenge began. Nanewiah means leaning hill in Choctaw, and you can see in this picture why it was named that. Although it's not certain what age the mound is, it is estimated that it has been around since about 1000 AD. According to legend, the earth gave birth to the Choctaw tribe here. As I made it down the virtual path about 16 miles, I learned about the Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek, which was the agreement for the tribe's removal. The United States government and the 3 chiefs at the time agreed that the Choctaws would give up 11 million acres in Mississippi and gain 15 million acres in Oklahoma. The typical clothing my ancestors wore changed over the years. Women used to wear clothing made from plant fibers. This is because women were the ones that tended to the fields to grow food. They were known as the givers of life. The men would wear animal hides as they were the hunters and the takers of life. At the moment of the removal, Choctaws wore more westernized clothing, but were still not equipped for the blizzard they would face on the trail. It is estimated that there is only a blanket available for about half of the individuals being relocated. Even though there was hardship on the Trail of Tears, various aspects of the tribe lives on to this day. Every year, the tribal members are invited back to the original Choctaw territory in Oklahoma for a big festival. There's always crafts, food, turtle races, and most importantly, a stickball tournament. Stickball is similar in some ways to the historic game of lacrosse, except the ball is carried and thrown with 2 sticks that grasp the ball rather than a single stick as in lacrosse. The ball is made of a rock that's then wrapped with hair and then covered again with hide. The sticks are typically made of hickory because of its hardness and common occurrence in the eastern woodlands in North America, where the game originated. The top of the stick is thinned, heated, and bent back onto the neck to make a small frame not unlike a tennis racket, just much smaller. It was the equivalent of hockey, where the stick was a legitimate implement for hitting the other team members. There were no timeouts, no substitutions, and games used to last for days. They were filled with injuries as the players battered each other with their modified clubs. For this reason, stickball in prehistoric times was a way for tribes to settle disputes without going to war. Another sight to behold during the festival are traditional dances. For example, the snake dance. This dance traditionally was performed socially, so as a way for the tribe to come together and spend time together as a community, usually in times of peace and during marriage ceremonies. So as of today, which is actually February 12th when I recorded this, I'm about 28% done with the challenge. I have walked approximately 180 miles and I am still virtually in Mississippi. This challenge was designed to mimic what my ancestors did. Their journey took about 3 months as they walked or boated approximately 7 to 8 miles a day, depending on the route that was taken. To an expert runner or backpacker, this may sound like a piece of cake, but we have to keep in mind the lack of resources these people had as they made their way across the country to a land foreign to them. My great-great-grandfather and grandmother walked the Trail of Tears. Their names were Hopatima and James Hudson. As I've been walking, I've been thinking of a Hopatima. I wondered to myself, how did she feel on this journey? Most likely she was saddened to leave her home, but maybe she got excited about the possibilities. And at what point in the journey did the landscape start looking different? When did she start to notice new birds, new plants? They made it to Oklahoma in February of 1832, 189 years ago this month. Although I've not finished the challenge, I am familiar with the endpoint. The original council house for the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma was built in Tushkahoma. This is a picture I captured of the council house about a year ago. The home in which my grandfather grew up in is about 4 miles from this building. My great-grandmother was given money from the U.S. government to buy land. We still own this land, and I call it home. Thank you for listening to the Choctaw story, to Hobatima's story, as it is also my story. Have a great day, MacLaren.